could we see Jimmie Johnson back in the NASCAR Cup Series? Jimmie Johnson made some comments earlier this week to the Tennessean, a newspaper out there in Tennessee. At 46 years old, he is still looking potentially to go cup racing. He wouldn't entertain a full-time deal, but if an opportunity came around, he's not opposed. Guys, we were talking about it. Maybe I was having this conversation with you, Tyler, a few weeks ago. I don't know if we maybe had the same agreement that Jimmie Johnson's not done in the Cup Series. I still felt, even before this interview, that he'd be coming back someday, maybe run a Daytona 500, run the Coke 600, maybe do the double, who knows? But I don't know. I think the last of Jimmie Johnson has not been seen in the Cup Series.
Well, here's one way to think about this too. So, there's 36 charters, and probably about 31 or 32 of them have full-time drivers that run every race. And so that means that every week there's about 8 cars, potentially. There could be up to 8 cars of open drivers, part-time guys. So just numbers-wise, if Jimmie Johnson wants to run part-time, he can do so. If he makes up his mind, you know what, I want to run Daytona or I want to run Gateway, just running and naming a random track out there. He can show up at any race he wants to, and there's a seat for him there. Mm-hmm. The opportunities, though, that's where things get a little tricky. Hendrick can't offer more than 4 cars, so he can't race for his former team. Junior Motorsports could, but they don't have a charter. We know the Trackhouse is going to introduce a part-time car, the 91 Project, I believe is what it's called. And Trackhouse has said, Justin Marks straight up said, if Jimmie Johnson wants to run this car, we would gladly put him in a car. No question about it. To me, Dom, that might be the best opportunity for Jimmie is pairing up with Justin Marks. They had that partnership with Hendrick already, Chevy team. To me, that's where I could see something being fit there is maybe that Trackhouse team might be his best fit and pick and choose the races he wants. I would think if he came to Justin Marks and said, here's the races I want to do, Justin says, okay, we'll make it happen.
I think you're right. I think that makes the most sense. That Hendrick Technical Alliance, having Chevrolet still be a part of the Chevy family in NASCAR, it'd make the most sense to me. And if there wasn't the rule of having the limit of 4 cars, Rick Hendrick would gladly take him back, but there's no option on the table for that. And I don't see him replacing Alex Bowman back in the 48 car.
No, not at all. David, you think we'll see Jimmie Johnson in a Cup car next year?
I think we will. I don't think we've seen the last of Jimmie Johnson. I think he wanted to go try. He needed a change, and man, did he get a change! And now that he's got his IndyCar fix, he's done a phenomenal job. I think there's some still unfinished business for Jimmie Johnson. He's still young enough, if he wants to break a record. There's only three drivers: Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmie Johnson that have 7 championships. And you put Jimmie in the right organization, obviously with the alliance with Trackhouse and with Chevrolet and Hendricks, that's a doable deal. And I think he's got unfinished business. And I think I think personally that we'll see Jimmie Johnson go for it one more full-time, run full-time and try to win an 8th championship. I think we'll see that before it's all over, all said and done for Jimmie Johnson. I don't know if it's going to be 2023, but I know it'll be here in the next couple of years, and I really do. And watching him race the Indy cars, he loves it, and he's getting that fix, and that's what he wanted to do, and he's done it. And now I keep hearing more rumblings that Jimmie wants to come back to Cup. And there's unfinished business there. And I wouldn't be surprised if he runs, 10, 12, whatever races next year. And I wouldn't surprise me at all if he went back full time for one final season to try to get that 8th championship.
Yeah, well, that'd be something if he does. And another part of the unfinished business aspect of it, Dominic, I feel like was that we didn't get to say goodbye to Jimmie Johnson. His final year was right during the midst of the pandemic, his final year full-time in Cup racing. And so many fans didn't get to say goodbye to Jimmie Johnson. And We know that Hendrick's performance at the time he left was not great. They're not what they are now. You know, I don't know if he's necessarily going to come back to try to run for a championship, but I do see there being a possibility of Jimmie Johnson coming back to try to be competitive and try to give it one more go of sorts to maybe get some of those big-time wins at the Cup level and say goodbye to these fans that were so loyal and supported him over the years.
You're right. The pandemic robbed him of being able to have a true farewell season like we got to see with Richard Petty or Jeff Gordon, some of these big guys. But yeah, maybe we do get a reunion of some sorts before it's all said and done. I believe Michael Schumacher came back to F1 after winning, 6, 7 titles at F1, and he came back to run a couple seasons. Maybe we could see that with Jimmie Johnson. Michael Jordan came back and played a few more seasons after his run at the Bulls.
Tom Brady came back.
Tom Brady came back. The GOATs do come back, and Jimmie Johnson is the modern era GOAT of the Cup Series. So
yeah, he is. I got a question for you guys. What if he came back, won a race? If you don't race full time, can you be part of the championship? No, you can't. Okay.
What would happen is if he won a race, then all of a sudden decided that he wanted to try to make the playoff, he had to declare Cup points then. And then from that point forward, it would have to go out and win another race to get in the playoff essentially at that point. So, yeah, we'll see. But Jimmie Johnson, the other thing too, and we've heard kind of Kurt Busch talk about this, Kyle Larson, some of these others here, Dom, that want to do other things. And, you know, we've seen Jimmie, everybody knows about the IndyCar stuff. He's been running a decent amount of sports car races too. I don't see him necessarily giving that up. That's why I don't think he's going back to full-time Cup racing, because it's not just the IndyCar. He's doing all sorts of stuff beyond just IndyCar racing right now.
Being pretty busy. And one thing too, if Fox continues this rotating booth of driver analysts in 2023, I'd love to see Jimmie Johnson get in the Cup Series booth and give his insight. Like we didn't think we'd see Matt Kenseth or Mark Martin in the Cup Series booth, and we got to see that.
I'm not concerned about him being on TV for one day, though. I want to see him drive a race car. You know, I mean, TV will always be there. He could do that 20 years from now. And I don't need him in front of a TV right now. I need to see him driving a race car. You know, I mean,
well, he's still got some good years ahead of him.
Right. That's the TV thing is not going away. You know, those opportunities will always be there.
Hey, race fans, if you enjoyed that clip, check out the full episode on YouTube and all podcast platforms.